the Sony PlayStation had a lot of games released for it. It's actually over 4,000. With that many titles, there are a lot of games that fell through the cracks. I picked 6 more titles that flew under the radar at release. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Also, if you haven't seen it, check out the first handful of PS1 gems after this one. Alright, let's go!
Yo, here's what's happening. The awesome tunes are waiting for you. A whole lot of fun and exciting surprises like secret characters. It's all starting, so get it together. Are you ready? Go! MotorTune Grand Prix!
MotorTune Grand Prix 2 was first released in Japan on May 24th, 1996. Next released in North America on November 8th, 1996. Then in PAL territories on November. The 2 was dropped for the North American release. This game was directed by Kazunori Yamauchi. He's the guy who would later create the Gran Turismo series. Yamauchi really wanted to create a driving simulator as soon as he was hired. However, since he was still new to the industry, directing Motor2 Grand Prix was an easier pitch. The team worked hard on the physics, but the original didn't sell well. They were still greenlit for a second game. That's the one we'll be looking at. Motor2 Grand Prix is a combat kart racer. While similar to games like Mario Kart, MotorTune Grand Prix does a few things to differentiate itself. First off is the cars that look like they're straight out of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. The character designs seem more inspired by Looney Tunes and Wacky Racers. There are 8 different characters to choose from. Each one handles completely different. 3 of the racers need to be unlocked. There are a few very unique vehicles like a UFO and a train. Once out racing, cars bend and warp while turning. This is a very nice touch. Every car really looks like a cartoon. The driving physics are really well done. The vehicles have some really good drift handling. I really like the driving in this game. Once you get a turn, you can get a feel for them fairly quickly. There are also weapons. To use them, coins on the track must be collected. Instead of finding weapons, you can use the coins when you want. These are all random and there's a decent amount of them. There's a missile that changes the camera angle and lets you control it. There's also fireballs, bombs, and mines. There are quite a few power-ups and a boost. The mushroom is a status effect weapon. These give debuffs on impact. While I was playing, I never had the computer attack me with items. It would make the game a little more of a challenge if they did. It's honestly kind of easy. There are a total of 10 tracks. 5 of these need to be unlocked. Design here is good. Each track is unique and they don't look too bad. Backgrounds are simplified to keep a consistent frame rate. The game has all the expected modes of play, but there are some special modes in the goodies. The goodies are the unlockables, and here there are 3 modes: Tank Battle, Submarine, and MotorTune Grand Prix R. Tank Battle is what it sounds like. Cars become tanks and is played from a first-person perspective. Submarine is Battleship. I don't know why it's in here, but it is. MotorTune Grand Prix R is almost a different game. Well, all 3 of these are pretty much different games. This one has 2 more realistic vehicles, an F1 car and a stock car. These handle very different to the Tune cars. It's like a precursor to Gran Turismo. You could see where the team's real passion lied. MotorTune Grand Prix is a fun racer. It doesn't take very long to complete the Grand Prix mode. It's around 30 minutes. The unlockables really add a lot to the package. You can't go wrong with this one. Check it out if you can.
Come on, we'll take you out.
We'll take you on.
Oh, congratulations, my man.
Pretty women should be embraced by a man. Come, jump into my arms. Oh, wow, wait, I didn't mean all of you. Hey! Oh!
Thousand Arms was first released in Japan on December 17th, 1998. Next released in North America on October 14th, 1999. Thousand Arms is an RPG developed by Team Morningstar, part of Red Company.
Red Company!
Wikipedia says Tosei. Honestly, the booklet is the only reference I can find on Team Morningstar. This game was published by Atlas, so it was rare as soon as it came out. The game's production note says there are a few changes Atlas made to the game for the North American release. And no, they didn't make it easier. The encounter rate was reduced with experience points and money increased for the difference. Enemies and bosses have higher hit points and hit harder. I read this in the booklet after getting 12 hours into the game. There was a point I was thinking these normal enemies are kinda hard. Funny thing is, I don't really remember the game being like this. It's not like the game is super difficult, but it's a good idea to stock up on health potions. The game's booklet has a lot of cool info in it, like the earlier said production notes, messages from some of the team, and translated lyrics for the 2 songs in the game performed by Ayumi Hamasaki. There's even an art book. Well, enough about the booklet, time to talk about the game. Thousand Arms stars Mice Triumph, a spirit blacksmith. The story begins shortly after his town is destroyed by the Dark Acolytes. His father was the town's spirit blacksmith, and with that role comes the town's protector. His father ran away instead. Mice did try to help, however he got knocked out before the invasion began.
Oh, wow, wait, I didn't mean all of you, hey! Oh!
Mice wakes up and everybody's gone. He begins walking. Exhausted and hungry, he collapses in front of Boysby.
No, this is my heritage. What am I gonna do now?
Mice is a girl-crazy guy like his father. Also because of his training, he's not very good. He trains with Boysby's spirit blacksmith, Jabal. He's able to improve his skills. Then just like in most JRPGs, he gets swept up in saving the world from an evil empire.
Come, you who belong to the darkness.
The game has a good cast of characters that keep the story interesting.
You must be Musa. I've heard a lot about you. I'm Sedina, Jabal's sister. It's nice to finally meet you.
Huh? Mice?
What's wrong, Musa?
Don't worry, Sodina. He's just shy around women.
Thousand Arms has a very unique battle system. The game has 3 party members in battle, but you can only attack with one. Same with the enemies. Once one dies, the next moves up. Characters in the back can only use items and spells. Once commands are selected, a countdown starts. X for the front, circle for the back. It's not my favorite battle system, but it's not bad. While it's still important to level up, it's not the main way to get stronger. Mice being a spirit blacksmith upgrades the party's weapons. The thing is, he needs a girl to help him with their spirit. This leads us to the dating sim in Thousand Arms. In order to craft better upgrades, Mice goes on dates with them to improve their mood.
Thanks for asking me out. See you soon.
This game's presentation is really damn good for the time. The chibi characters have a lot of different animations. The sprites in battle look exceptionally well. These might be some of the best looking sprites on the PS1. The game has a mix of animation and CG for the cutscenes. These still look pretty good. There's a lot of voice acting in Thousand Arms, and it's good. This includes the dates. Fun fact, this is the same voice team from Tail Concerto. I covered that in the last PS1 Gems video. Thousand Arms is a very different RPG from anything else in the PS1 catalog. I loved this game when I was in high school. I let my friends borrow it after I beat it and they loved it too. This game had the potential to be much bigger. Thousand Arms oozes with charm. If you're looking for an RPG to play on the PS1, Thousand Arms is definitely worth checking out. Tobal 2 was released in Japan on April 25, 1997. The fan translation was done by Lepine, with an addendum by Radius. Since I talked about Tobal number 1 in the last handful of PS1 gems, and I never played Tobal 2, it seemed like time to check it out. Tobal 2 was only released in Japan. The low sales of the first game, and the text-heavy quest mode, are the reasons for the game never getting localized. Which is a real shame, because this is a vast improvement on an already amazing fighter. Once again directed by Seiichi Ishii, and with character designs by the late great Akira Toriyama. I couldn't really find much about the story for the game. In Tobal number 1, fighters competed for mining rights of Malmoran that's only found on planet Tobal. The quest mode is where all the story is in Tobal 2. The Emperor tasked the player with defeating monsters in 6 dungeons and save the people of Tobal. I'll get into the quest mode in a little bit. In Tobal 2, you have full 360-degree movement of your fighter. Attacks are triangle for high strikes, square for mid attacks, and X for low attacks. These aren't strength of the attacks, just which part is being targeted. Tobal 2 runs at 60 frames per second, just like the first game. The fighting is fast and responsive. Juggling is a big part this time around. Also powerful and blockable projectiles. They take the character some time to perform, so it balances out. There are 2 new fighters, Chaco and Dr. V. In the first game, characters lacked detail to achieve the 60 frames per second. For the sequel, the characters look much better. Every character has received more texture and detail. The character's facial animations during victory poses are extremely impressive for the time. Former CEO of Sony Computer Entertainment and father of the PlayStation, Ken Kutaragi, had a performance analyzer for the PlayStation. This allowed Sony to see how much of the system's potential software was using. Tibalt 2 used 90%, while most used around 50%. While the combat is smoother and more responsive, and the game's graphics are impressive running at 60 FPS, I really feel like the game's soundtrack is a little lacking compared to the first. It's not bad or anything, it actually has some good tracks in it. Tibalt No. 1's just felt like it hit harder and sounded otherworldly. Lastly, there's Quest Mode. This time around it's been greatly expanded upon. It has a story with NPCs to talk to. There are some diverse locations allowing the player to explore a bit of the world of Tibalt. While the controls are a little better, they still aren't very good. Movement is still awkward. Fighting against monsters flows well though. You can catch these monsters and use them to play as in tournament and versus. This brings the playable roster to over 200 fighters. You can also level up your abilities and such. I'm sure had this been released in the US during the PlayStation heyday, I'd have been into it. I don't have the same patience for awkward controls as I did as a kid, so I wasn't very into it. Tibalt 2 is a really good fighter. It has everything you'd expect from a 3D fighter and then some. The game, however, is difficult around stage 5. It's just a reason to keep getting better. Check this one out, it's worth a shot. Busted Groove 2 was first released in Japan on April 15, 1999. Next released in North America on August 22, 2000, it was also released in Japanese arcades. Busted Groove 2 is a rhythm game. It was developed by Metro and published by Enix. Man, Squaresoft and Enix being separate companies was so long ago. Oh yeah, Tibalt 2 was published by Squaresoft. Anyway, the game is kind of set up like a fighter. You choose a character, then go against the other dancers in one-on-one battles. Each character has their own style, stage, and theme. Well, excluding the secret characters. These all eventually lead to a dance battle against the final boss. Gameplay involves completing button combinations within 4 beats. The buttons don't need to be inputted to a rhythm except for the last button that has to be pressed by the 4th flash. Completing them correctly adds points. The one with the highest score wins the battle. Attacks can be performed as well. These knock the opponents down, making them miss out on points, or even if timed right, steal their solo. These can be countered. There are only 2 for each player. The counter attack uses 1 as well, so it's not like attacks will be flying constantly. Busted Groove 2 features many different dance styles, like breakdancing, capoeira, which is also the name of the aliens that use it. There are many more. The secret characters have a mix of the core characters' moves. There are 3 difficulties you can choose after selecting a character. Easy, which only uses the D-pad, normal that has the D-pad for the left side, then the final button being X or circle. Then there's mixed that has both directions and face buttons. Busted Groove 2 has an interesting cast of characters. Returning characters have some new moves and new designs. My personal favorites have always been Heat and Capoeira. Even though there's a zombie and a pair of aliens, that's nothing compared to the secret characters. They're strange for sure.
Oh my god!
You are the one from my dreams.
The gameplay is fun and it's very addictive. The music in Busted Groove 2 is pretty good. It does sound very late 90s, even Hero's disco track. There are also a few re-recordings in English. I like Kelly's stage Midnight Party in both languages. The stages all have a lot going on in them. Sometimes it can get a little distracting. When one player is doing really well, the stage will change. Like in Strike stage, the bank vault explodes with gold and jewelry flying out. This usually results in a fever time. This will be a solo dance they'll do after they win. If both get a fever time, they'll both do it together. Rhythm games aren't for everyone, but this one's worth a shot. Solid gameplay together with a great soundtrack makes Busted Groove 2 a very shiny gem on the PlayStation.
The interstellar dispenser of justice decides to send the only being capable of dealing with a menace such as Captain Kabuki, the freedom-loving, robo-heroic Robert. Tuned up and ready to go the distance, Robert leaps to the scene. Jumping Flash 2, Big Trouble in Little Moo.
Jumping Flash 2 was first released in Japan on April 26, 1996. Next released in North America on August 21, 1996, then in PAL territories on November 1, 1996. The original Jumping Flash was kind of a showcase of the power of the Sony PlayStation. The sequel builds on the original. One big thing Exact wanted to achieve was a much further draw distance. In Jumping Flash 2 you play as Robin. Robin had defeated Baron Aloha in the events of the previous game. Baron Aloha returns to his home planet Little Moo to regroup. That's when Captain Kabuki attacks. He bottles everything up. Robin is the only one that can save the Moos. The giant Robo-Rabbit is equipped with a blaster and a variety of bombs. He's also able to double jump to stomp on enemies. Every world in Jumping Flash 2 is broken up into 2 stages and a boss fight. The goal in the stages is to save 4 Moos and head to the exit. These Moos won't always be the easiest to find. They can be spread out really far apart from each other. The stages start off a little smaller, but have a lot of verticality, so getting to them can sometimes be a little tricky. Being that this game is in first person and there's a lot of platforming, it's cool that the camera points down when jumping. It's honestly this mechanic that makes the game so much fun. Jumping and stomping enemies or landing a tough jump is oddly satisfying. Robin basically plays like a tank. There's no strafing, just forward, backwards, and turn left and turn right. Jumping is the only real way to dodge anything. There are also a few linear stages. These are okay, but they're mostly limited to the tank movement. Every time I was in one of these, I just wanted to go back to the wide open stages. Boss battles are in wide open arenas. They aren't very hard. I was able to beat them by bouncing and shooting downward. Even still, these boss battles are fun. Enemies are a combination of bugs, tanks, artillery, and just weird looking things. Another thing I like about this game is that it doesn't fall into the tropes of fire, ice, and water stages. The first world is a resort. There's a world set in a historically inspired Japanese castle. The theme park world was cool. There are roller coasters around the stage that Robin can ride on. Once the game is completed, there are some extra stages. The soundtrack for Jumping Flash 2 is a good one. This and Busted Groove 2 are both worth a listen. The characters Baron Aloha and Captain Kabuki are the ones you hear most throughout the story. Both are very cartoony, but because the game is what it is, this works.
Robo Bunny, not funny. Time to grind out some bunny burgers, cause you don't know Jack Rabbit. Jack Rabbit, I made it funny.
Rabbit seems to be really getting to him, Baron.
Yeah, but just wait and see how he does with this challenge. He's not such a hot shot of a hero.
You want Rabbit to win, don't you?
Jumping Flash 2 is really still a lot of fun, mainly because of the jumping and massive stages. It's not a hard game or very long, but it's got a lot of charm. Definitely a fun platformer for the PS1.
All right.
Destrega was first released in Japan on September 23, 1998. Next released in North America on February 4, 1999, then in PAL territories on October 8, 1999. Destrega is an arena fighter. The story stars Grad, a Strega. The Strega are kind of like Jedi in the sense that they both have powers, and an Empire wants them all dead. It starts off with Grad's town being destroyed, and he heads out for revenge. As you progress through the story, it'll shift to other characters. In Destrega, all fighters have 3 projectile attacks. These 3 attacks can be combined 3 at a time. There's a light attack, a spread, and strong attack. All of these can be powered up if the same attack is pressed 3 times. And all of these drain a spirit meter that recharges after a cooldown. When the fighters are close, they switch to melee. This has fast and strong attacks. These can be strung into combos. So Destrega as a single player game is okay. The story mode has very long cutscenes with short 1-round fights sprinkled in.
And just who are you?
Friends, I hope. And Strega like you. We're searching for others who will help us stop Zauber and destroy the relics.
Relics?
Yes, the relics.
Enemy AI isn't the best, so why is this a gem? Well, if you have somebody to play this with, this game is a lot of fun. Honestly, if my son didn't play this with me, I don't think I would have put Destrega in this video. I've played a lot of PS1 games for these 2 videos. Some weren't as good as I remembered them being, and some I decided to save for later. I do want to make more of these. Anyway, Destrega has decent sized arenas to run around with platforms and obstacles. The ground has slopes to consider as well. It's possible just to hit the ground with an attack. When this game came out, my friends and I were really into Dragon Ball Z. It may seem weird now, but there was a real lack of Dragon Ball games back then. We used Estrega as our Dragon Ball game. Grad was Goku, Cougar was Piccolo, Rosen was Master Roshi, and Zauber was Frieza. Those are the only ones I can remember. We assigned all of them Dragon Ball characters. We preferred it to the Bandai release of Dragon Ball GT Final Bout. Estrega is a lot of fun if you can get somebody to play it with. I liked Destroy mode when I was a teenager, but I found it really boring now. So I'm not 100% if this is a gem, but when the hell else was I going to talk about it? Check it out though, it's still worth playing. Alright, that was 6 more PS1 gems. Do you have any memories of these games? If you do, leave them down in the comments below. I've covered 12 PS1 gems in these videos now. Have any you want me to cover in the future? Yep, you guessed it, down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Please like if you liked it. Please subscribe. Peace.